Very good morning. Many thanks for joining us for Sports Splash, the Friday edition here on ABS TV. And of course, it's time for us to go on a circumnavigation around the world of sports in style. On the show this morning, we'll tell you that NNL throws out 147 FC from the Nigerian National League. We'll also tell you that Rangers AFA Achina embarks on players recruitment for 2025 NLO2 season. Visit Rwanda, signs new deal as Arsenal protest continues. And Mexico City GP signs extension until 2028 in the Formula One. We also have athletics and tennis news, football news, and league fixtures across major leagues in Europe will also feature on the sports show. It is Sports Splash on ABS TV, the Friday edition. My name is Ike Mokedi. Now, let's begin the show with our first story. Our first story is about this club called Rangers Football Academy of Achina. Yes, let's tell you that Rangers Football Academy of Achina has embarked on players recruitment in anticipation of the commencement of the 2025 Nigeria Nationwide League 2 NLO2 season. The Aguata-based club who will be playing in the fourth year of Nigerian club football kicked off their 2-week-long screening and players recruitment exercise on Tuesday, the 29th of April 2025 at St. Joseph Catholic Church Field, Amesi, Aguata LGA of Anambra State. According to the club proprietor, Chukwuemeka Dimude, the first phase of the screening players recruitment will hold from Tuesday, the 29th of April to Friday, the 2nd of May 2025, while the second phase of the process will hold next week from Tuesday the 6th to Friday, 9th May 2025, starting at 3 p.m. of each day. Mr. Dimude informed that the Football Academy is embarking on the recruitment process in line with football ethos so as to strengthen the current team set up and energize the team for football league action in the NLO2. Dimude stated, will have commenced a 2-week screening players recruitment exercise with the aim of strengthening the current nucleus of our team for the task ahead, which is to play in the NLO2 this season. We are looking at acquiring the services of young talented players who are skillful, hardworking, committed and dedicated to our vision and aspiration. He stated the screening exercise is free and fair, conforming with the laws of the beautiful game. And I want to use this opportunity to call on all talented footballers in the state and beyond to avail themselves of the opportunity to play professional football for Rangers Football Academy. Dimude stated Rangers AFA made her debut appearance in the NLO2 in 2023 and also featured in the 2024 edition. The Football Academy is looking at consolidating on the experience gained in the past 2 years in their quest to book a place in the third tier of the nation, the third tier, which is the nationwide League One. And I can tell you, according to Dimude, the proprietor of the Rangers Football Academy, that they are looking for players of age bracket 18 to 25 to beef up at the squad as they look at to participate in the fourth tier of Nigerian club football, which is the nationwide league. Just to inform you that MPFL is the elite division, which is the first tier. The second tier is the NNL, Nigerian National League. Third tier is the NLO, and the fourth tier is the NLO2. And Rangers FA, we can confirm to you, have commenced a screening exercise for the recruitment of our players in anticipation of that one. So we'll keep you posted as regards what they are doing, and also as they get set to prepare to feature in the fourth tier of Nigerian club football, which is the nationwide League 2. That's the story coming from Achina, from Rangers Football Academy. Away from that, let's tell you that the Nigerian National League, the NNL, has expelled the Lagos-based 1472 FC from further participation in the 2024-2025 season, following the team's failure to honor 3 matches in the ongoing season. The matches were against Abia Comets, and that was on match 9, Dakada FC match 53, and Ijele FC, and that was match 74. The NNL relied on the league's Article 14.11 to expel the club. In the letter signed by the NLL's Chief Operating Officer, Danlami Alalana, 1472 FC are also fined a sum of 5 million naira, with the consequence that results of all their playing matches have been nullified and unplayed matches are cancelled, and that's a huge fine coming to 1472 FC, who missed 3 matches in the ongoing NNL, and they play in the Conference A, and right now they've been thrown out of the league and been served a huge fine of 5 million naira, according to article. That's the punishment or the sledgehammer that comes down to them, according to Article 14.11 of the NNL. Away from that, let's go to our third story. Let's tell you that the Nigeria Women Football League and the NWFL has officially announced Ikene Ogun State as the host city of the 2024-2025 NWFL Premiership Super 6 tournament, making a return to the 16 event to the Southwest region for the first time since 2021 edition held in Ejebode. The season-defining title playoff is scheduled to take place from Thursday, May 8th to Sunday, May 17th at the Remo Stars Stadium, the home ground of Remo Stars ladies. And speaking on the host selection, NWFL chairperson Mrs. Nkechiobi said, on behalf of the board and management of the NWFL, I congratulate Ikene and Ogun State on being selected to host this year's NWFL Premiership Super 6. This is a significant opportunity to further stimulate the revival of women's football in the state, fondly remembered as host of the inaugural Women's Africa Cup of Nations finals in 1998, and to elevate the profile of the women's game nationwide. Last year, we hosted the competition in Yenagoa in Bayelsa, the South, and now we are excited to bring it to Ikene in the Southwest, in line with our women football rising agenda to spread elite women football across every region of Nigeria. She stated this marks the first time Ikene will host the NWFL Premiership playoffs, and comes just 2 years after Remo Stars ladies secured their historic promotion to the top flight at the same venue during the 2023 NWFL Championship. According to a circular sent to the participating clubs, at the 2025 Super 6 will be played in a round-robin format, with all 6 teams playing 5 matches each. Teams are expected to arrive on Thursday, May 8th, with the tournament draw and pre-match meeting scheduled for Friday, May 9th. So far, 5 clubs have booked their place in the tournament: Rivers Angels, Nasarawa Amazons, Bayelsa Queens, Edo Queens, and Remo Stars ladies. The 6th and final slots will be determined after the decisive match week 14 clash between Robo Queens and Nigeria Tels on Wednesday. That was expected to happen on Wednesday. And the NWFL Premiership has produced different champions in the last 4 editions: Rivers Angels, and that was in 2021, Bayelsa Queens in 2022, Delta Queens in 2023, and Edo Queens in 2024, setting the stage for another exciting battle for the title. The winner of the 2025 NWFL Premiership Super 6 will go on to represent Nigeria at the WAFU B qualifiers for a place in the 2025 CAF Women's Champions League, and ultimately the inaugural 2026 FIFA Women's Club World Cup. And that's a good one. So 6 clubs are converging in Ikene in Ogun State for that big one coming up. It's all about the Super 6 of the Nigeria Women Football League. We'll follow up on that, and we'll keep you posted on Sports Splash as regards that competition coming up, the Super 6 of the NWFL. Now to Nigeria players abroad. Let's tell you that Real Sociedad President Joaquim Periba has shared that he is satisfied with Nigerian forward Omar Sadiq's form since joining Valencia in January, but expressed that the club Los Cheese may be the ones to have the final say on his future. Sadiq left Sociedad for Valencia in the January transfer window due to a lack of playing time at the club, and so far it has proven to be a rewarding decision. The 28-year-old has contributed 6 goals in 15 appearances for Valencia. There has been talks suggesting that his parent club don't want him back, possibly seeing him remain in Los Chi. And the club head coach Carlos Coberan is impressed with Sadiq and making positive comments about the player after scoring a crucial goal recently. I have 3 great forwards because Sadiq is showing it, Hugo has shown it, but he is not available at the moment. The same goes for Rafa Mea. I have absolute and full confidence in the 3 forwards we have. Caberan, the coach of Valencia, stated, I think that Sadiq today exemplifies what the game was like, a game with mistakes at times and with a mentality to recover from those situations that he had, a game of not losing faith, of assistance until achieving the objective, he said. In a recent update, Sociedad's president Aperibe discussed Sadiq, and he suggested that Valencia might activate the purchase clause in the Nigeria's players' contract. Valencia has a purchase option on Sadiq, and I'm very happy with the level he's showing. We have to wait for the deadlines, Aperibe said, of the Nigerian player, talking about Omar Sadiq's form and possible move to signing a permanent deal. Now with Valencia, will follow up on that and talk about how he is progressing in his career out there in Spain. From one Nigerian player to another is a good story too. What looks like a not too very good story for this Nigerian, Wilfred Ndidi. Leicester City midfielder Wilfred Ndidi is available for £9 million relegation release clause this summer, according to reports. The 28-year-old clause was activated last week when the Foxes lost 1-0 to now champions Liverpool, and we are relegated to the championships with 5 games to go. Leicester City have since lost 3-0 away at Wolverhampton Wanderers, and the Nigerian international Wilfred Ndidi is among several members of the squad now considering their future, and the Midland clubs feel very pleased to revamp the squad with release clauses rare at the King Power Stadium, and only 3 players out of contract are goalkeepers Daniel Iverson, Danny Ward, along with a legendary striker Jamie Vardy, who has announced that he will leave Leicester after 13 glorious years at the club. Wilfred Ndidi, meanwhile, had interest from clubs like Olympique Marseille and Everton, while available on a free transfer last summer. However, Leicester managed to sign Ndidi to a new 3-year deal last summer. He was signed in 2017 in a £70 million deal from Genk, but the pressure from interested parties are likely led to the inclusion of a release clause as part of his most recent deal. Wilfred Ndidi has won an FA Cup and the Championship last season while at Leicester City, and has played 27 times in all competition during his campaign. But the story is not good for that man, Wilfred Ndidi. As now he is looking to be shipped out from Leicester City. We may no longer see Wilfred Ndidi playing at the King Power Stadium after the club were relegated at this season, the 2024-2025 season. We wish that man, Wilfred Ndidi, all the best as he move on in his career for pastures anew. And now to the African continent. Former Manchester United assistant manager Michel van der Gaag says criticism from media and social media has impacted everyone at Old Trafford, including goalkeeper Andre Onana, the Cameroonian. And Onana was described as one of the worst goalkeepers in the club's history by the former United midfielder Nemanja Matic. And the Cameroon international has made 9 errors leading to goals in all competitions. And Van der Gaag thinks that the pressure weighs heavily. Onana was dropped from Ruben Amorim's squad for their Premier League defeat at Newcastle United after making 2 mistakes in the Europa League. And Van der Gaag, who worked with Onana at Ajax Amsterdam and at United with Erik ten Hag, says player emotions must be understood. And away from that, and now let's talk about this one. While Arsenal fans are protesting about the club sponsorship deal with Visit Rwanda, the African Countries Tourism Board has signed a deal with another top European football side, and Spanish giants Atletico Madrid have agreed a 3-year contract with Visit Rwanda, and their men's and women's teams will carry its logo on their shirts. And next season, we hear Rwanda's long-standing partnerships with Arsenal, Bayern Munich, and Paris Saint-Germain have come under the spotlight after increased violence in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where authorities say 7,000 people have been killed since January. The Congolese government accuses Rwanda of arming M23 rebels and sending troops to support the militants. And despite assertions from both the United Nations and the United States, Rwanda has denied supporting the M23. A section of Arsenal's supporter has forced a group named as Gunners for Peace and are calling on, they formed a group named Gunners for Peace, and they are calling on Premier League club not to renew its deal with Visit Rwanda, as the partnership does not fit the club's values and standards. They believe the sleeve sponsorship, which is reportedly worth more than 10 million pounds, that's about 13.3 million US dollars per year, runs out at the end of the season, and the group has distributed armbands to cover up the Visit Rwanda logo on kits, and held a protest outside the Emirates Stadium ahead of Tuesday's 1-0 defeat by PSG in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final tie. And a small number of fans of the French club donned the armbands and joined the followers of the North London outfit in standing behind a banner reading "Drop Visit Rwanda." You're watching Sports Splash on ABS TV. Let's go for a short break on the show. When we come back, we'll go to other international stories in Formula One, athletics, tennis, and then we've got some football news and league fixtures across Western Europe, all coming up on the second part of the show. We'll be right back. Back to the show. It is a Sports Splash on ABS TV, the Friday edition. It happens here Mondays to Fridays. Join us by 9:32. Of course, I'm 9:55 on the sports show. And in the first half, we told you that Rangers Football Academy of Achina have commenced players recruitment and screening exercise in anticipation of the 2025 Nigerian Nationwide League 2. Yes, the Football Academy is set to feature in the NLO2 starting later in the year. And we are hearing that it will start in the month of June or July, and they are preparing so well, and that's why they have embarked on recruitment, as confirmed by the proprietor of the club, Dumude, who said that they are looking at getting players of age bracket 18 to 25 to beef up the current nucleus of the side, to strengthen the team as they look to feature in the fourth tier of Nigerian club football. And the screening exercise commenced this week on Tuesday. The first stage will end today, and then it will continue next week from Tuesday to Friday. That's the story coming out from Achina. That's the base of Rangers Football Academy. We also told you that the NNL has thrown out 1472 FC rather. Yeah, they've thrown out 1472 FC from the league, and they fined them 5 million naira for a breach of Article 14.11 of the NNL and statute, and they missed 3 matches. And when you miss 3 matches, automatically you can't continue in the league. And of course, all the points taken, and teams that have taken points from there, the points will now be withdrawn according to reports. We equally told you also on the show that all is now set for the NWFL Super 6 and Ikene in Ogun State, the home of Remo Stars, Beyond Limits, Remo Stars Ladies, and other clubs out there. That's the city that will be hosting the NWFL Super 6, which is expected to start on May 9th, to be precise. And we probably promised you that we'll follow up on the development from that place some actions that kick off. We told you also on the show that Wilfred Ndidi, of course, there's the release clause of £9 million pounds for him to leave the club. After Leicester City, we are relegated. But for Omar Sadiq, he looks like it's a roller coaster moment for him out there, and a whole lot is being said about a possible move away from his club and inking a deal and all that. And we equally told you about a visit Rwanda signing a new deal with other Spanish club, and there has been protests in London as regards the government are supporting the M23 rebels and all that, despite condemnation from the United Nations and the United States of America. And fans of Arsenal, of course, are clamoring that the deal should be cancelled. And there was a protest just before their Champions League match against PSG, and that was on Tuesday. And now to other sports stories. Now let's go to the world of Formula One. In Formula One, motorsports, Mexico City will stay on the Formula One calendar until at least 2028 after signing a new 3-year contract. The deal ends uncertainty over whether the race would continue after Mexican driver Sergio Perez lost his seat on the grid, having been dropped by Red Bull at the end of last season. And the race has been supported by the Mexican government, but both national and local businesses. And Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum is a former mayor of the capital and a supporter of the race, along with the new mayor of Mexico City, and billionaire businessman Carlos Slim Domit, one of the world's richest men, has also backed the Grand Prix. And the race at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez has had one of the sport's most enthusiastic crowds since it returned to the calendar, and that was in 2015. After a 22-year absence from the Formula One calendar. Now let's talk about athletics. Britain's Olympic champion Kelly Hodgkinson will return from injury to race in the women's 800 meters at this summer's London Athletics Meet, and that's commencing on the 19th of July. And the 23-year-old was forced to withdraw from February's Kelly Classic in Birmingham because of a hamstring injury. At last year's event at London Stadium, Hodgkinson set a meeting record. It was a national record and personal best of 1 hour 54 minutes and 61 seconds, which lifted her to 6th in the world all-time rankings. It would pave the way for her to win gold at the Paris Games and add to her Olympic silver from Tokyo, where Hodgkinson will be aiming to claim the World Championship title later this year. And the London Athletics Meet is the 11th meet of the 2025 Wanda Diamond League. In the world of tennis, let's tell you that world number 1 Yannick Sinner considered walking away from tennis during his doping case, stating he didn't feel comfortable as players looked at him differently during the Australian Open. And the 23-year-old Italian returned 2 positive tests for banned substance clostebol, and that was in March 2024, and accepted a 3-month ban from the World Anti-Doping Agency in February, just weeks after successfully defending his crown in Melbourne. Yannick Sinner, still talking tennis, had previously been cleared of any wrongdoing by an independent panel, but WADA launched an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sports, CAS, seeking a ban of up to 2 years. However, he reached a settlement with the anti-doping agency for a shorter sanction and is expected to make his comeback at the Italian Open. That's from the 6th to 18th of May in Rome. after his ban expires on the 5th of May. And Wada acknowledged that Cena did not gain any competitive advantage from the banned substance and that he bore no fault for an accidental contamination. His ban was criticized by some in the tennis world, with the 23-time Grand Slam singles champion Serena Williams stating that she would have received a 20-year ban and had her titles taken away. And former British #1 Tim Henman labeled that the agreement are too convenient, while 3-time Swiss Grand Slam champion Stanislas Wawrinka said he did not believe in clean sports anymore. And lastly, now let's check out what's happening in the world of football and see what's going on and the latest issues coming up in the world of football before we'll get to the fixtures of league matches across Western Europe. Of course, we all know that football is the king of sports, and there is news making the rounds that the FA bars transgender women from of course, women's football, and that's the story making the rounds this morning. Let's tell you that transgender women will no longer be able to play in the women's football in England from the 1st of June. The Football Association has announced that it amended its rules on the 11th of April, applying stricter eligibility criteria for transgender women to continue playing in women's football at all levels. We hear, however, following the UK Supreme Court's ruling on the 15th of April that the legal definition of a woman is based on biological sex, the FA has scrapped that policy and says that only those born biologically female will be permitted to play. The FA said on Thursday that there were fewer than 30 transgender women registered among millions of amateur players, and there are no registered transgender women in professional game across the home nations. That he said the Scottish FA on Thursday also announced it was banning transgender women external from women's football in Scotland, and stringent measures being taken on that one. Now, time for us to check out fixtures of league matches in Europe. Let's start with France. Today, Nice is expected to take on Reims. We'll have Strasbourg playing PSG. Toulouse will take on Rennes. Saint-Etienne is at home to AS Monaco. Nantes will host Angers. It is Auxerre at home to Le Havre. And Montpellier is on the road to Brest, and Lyon at the Stade Geelong will take on Lens, while Lille will take on Marseille. In Germany, FC Heidenheim will play VfL Bochum. Will have Borussia Mönchengladbach at home to Hoffenheim. Leipzig will play Bayern Munich. St. Pauli is at home to VfB Stuttgart, and Union Berlin will tackle Werder Bremen, and Borussia Dortmund playing at the Signal Iduna Park will host Wolf, that's Wolfsburg rather. We'll have Augsburg taking on Holstein Kiel, and Freiburg is at home to Bayer Leverkusen, while Mainz will take on Eintracht Frankfurt. In Spain, that's on the La Liga. Rayo Vallecano will take on Getafe. Deportivo Alaves is expected to take on Atletico Madrid. The El Madrigal. Villarreal will take on Osasuna. Las Palmas will welcome Valencia, and Real Valladolid is at home to Barcelona. As the La Liga continues this weekend, Real Madrid will take on Celta Vigo. Is Sevilla at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan hosting Leganés, and Espanyol is at home to Real Betis. Real Sociedad will take on Athletic Club, and Girona will host Real Mallorca. Quickly in Italy, Torino will play Venezia. Cagliari will take on Udinese in the Serie A. Parma will play Como. It is Inter at home to Hellas Verona. Empoli versus Lazio. Monza versus Atalanta. Is AS Roma at the Stadio Olimpico taking on Fiorentina. Bologna will host Juventus, and Genoa at home to AC Milan. In the Premier League in England, Manchester City will take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Later today is Aston Villa at home to Fulham. Everton will play Ipswich Town. Leicester City, relegated Leicester, will take on relegated Southampton. Arsenal will host Bournemouth. We will have Brentford at home to Manchester United. Brighton and Hove Albion will take on Newcastle. West Ham United will take on Tottenham in the London Derby. Chelsea versus Liverpool is a big match in the cards, and then we'll have Crystal Palace at home to Nottingham Forest, another London Derby, and Fulham will host Everton at the Craven Cottage. That's the size of the show this Friday, Sports Splash on ABS TV. Thank you very much for being part of the show Monday down to Friday, and the show takes a break and returns on Monday for another episode. The name is Ike Moked. Have a lovely weekend, and remember to keep sporting. Bye-bye now.